Welcome to day 2, the final day of competition here at the 2016 Big 12 Indoor Track and Field Championships. We're at Iowa State University, and I'm Ryan Fenton with FlowTrack alongside my co-host here, Kevin Selby. Kevin, ready for an exciting day of track and field here?
Yeah, yesterday was great warm-up for this meet, great Friday. Ended with some DMR and 5K action, and those prelims just set things up for a great competition today, both on the individual side, both on the field, on the track, and then the team battles. You know, we've been talking to coaches, Ryan. We can't predict who's going to win this thing.
No.
I mean, we could go on for another couple of hours with our stat sheets, but you know, there's a lot of anxiety with the coaches and excitement, and I think we're kind of feeling that same energy.
Yep, and yesterday really set things off and started that anxiety for a lot of these coaches. You know, we had a lot of great performances out on the track. You mentioned the 5Ks and DMRs that closed tonight. Some great battles that really showed what the conference competition is all about. Another performance that really stood out for me was Courtney Okolo running her first 200 of the season. Ran the fastest time in the Big 12 in the prelims. She'll be in 3 events today. And then in that men's 60, we talked about it all week, fastest race in the country. John Teeters of Oklahoma State, Ronnie Baker at TCU, both tie the meet record in the prelims, setting up for a blazing fast final today.
Yeah, you know, when you're talking about those athletes, they were operating at a world-class level, particularly Okolo. On the field side of things, Ryan, Akela Jones, who's of Kansas State, off to a great start. She just high jumped 6'3", and that's just to continue the good things that she's been doing. Long jump yesterday, 675, 22 1 3/4, Big 12 record. And so she's carrying Kansas State right now. Also, her Kansas State teammate, Brady Gunder, in the weight throw just behind us, threw a bomber yesterday. He threw
Wins it in the end there. That was unbelievable.
And you could hear the crowd roaring just the way it's supposed to be at the conference meet. He takes the weight throw and really kind of set the tone and created a great vibe here in the building. So like you mentioned, you know, those are a couple of great competitions. Kansas State on the Texas side of things, in the pole vault, Caitlin Petrulos, the best vaulter in the history of the conference, the best vaulter in the history of the Big 12, wins her 7th title, not to be outdone by her teammate Reese Watson on the men's side. Texas Longhorns men's and women's pole vault titles.
Yeah, a great action yesterday. But, you know, yesterday was about the prelims and about qualifying, and obviously the few of the finals we mentioned. But the finals on the track today are going to make or break things, along with a few of those field events that are left at the men's team standings
from yesterday. So Oklahoma State 2 points ahead of Kansas State, followed by Texas, who is just back at 34.5 points. So you've got the first 3 teams separated by 3.5 points. We also want to point out Texas Tech. Yes, they're at 20.5 points. The key for Texas Tech is that they have 13 qualifiers on in the running events, plus an additional 5 potential scorers on the field.
Yeah, it's going to be really bringing up Texas Tech. And when you look at Texas Tech and Texas, they're so evenly matched in qualifiers on the track in every event. And there's going to have to be some separation somewhere. And for Oklahoma State, they're going to have to find some separation in the 3,000 meters. They have 6 in the final there, and that could be huge for them. As we look at keys for the men's side, we've talked about Texas, and for them, it's huge in the sprints for them, obviously. And like we said, they're kind of evenly matched with Texas Tech right now. So the 200 is an event that I pick out for them because they have 3 qualifiers, which is 2 more than Oklahoma State or Texas Tech. The thing is, they're going to have 3 guys on tired legs. And another key that you see there, Aldrich Bailey Jr., who's a guy that's in the 60, he's in the 200, he's in the 400, he's in the 4x4, so 7 races with prelims and finals for this guy. If he's standing at the end of this and running well, then Texas is going to be in good shape.
And if you go back to the top of our list up there, Ryan, Oklahoma State needs to go the distance.
Yeah.
They've got John Teeters going that short distance in the sprint. He's also in the 200, which could be critical points. You think of him as a 60 guy, but if he can nab a couple of points, maybe unexpected for Oklahoma State, that would be huge. And then on the distance side of things, that's where they really load up. Matt Fair's the sub-4 miler. He's going to play a big role. Same with Chad Noel. Yeah. So we look forward to a great day today, Ryan. And we've already gotten off to a strong start here with the women's shot put, where there was an upset, and we're gonna get to some highlights of that in a bit. The women's high jump records are being set. Yeah. So I think that, you know, they're out of the gates fast here.
Oh, they are. And speaking of that, the first events that we'll see on the track are the 60 hurdles, the 60 dashes, and then we'll head right in to the mile, and this event will keep rolling. And man, this is going to be an exciting day at track and field. So we'll try and get a look at that last throw by Ryan Krauser, which was just announced, tying the collegiate record, 71.3.5. That's 21.73 meters. So Krauser, a huge, huge throw, his best ever. And we'll take a look at it here in just a second. But in his sixth and final attempt, I mean, his last 3 throws before this, Kevin, you mentioned, 68, 69 feet.
I mean, 4 throws over 68-10, and you can see the bomb out there that they're going to have to move the barricades back the crowd up next time Ryan Krauser throws. Look where they're marking that.
And that collegiate record he tied by Ryan Whiting.
One of the great shot putters of all time.
Man, I mean, Whiting was so dominant back then. Krauser has been dominant, but now not only dominant, but able to match what Whiting did back in 08. So 8 years ago, and you'll see the men's 200 start list there as we get ready for our final individual sprint race of the day here. But whoa. Also want to note, Courtney Akolo now moves number 2 in the nation with her 22.79, just behind Kyra Jefferson. Those are based on the times coming into this weekend. And here, Kevin, switching gears to the track. We got about less than 2 minutes before the start of this, but you know, after our last few events and really after that shot put, which is now concluded, that shot put just threw Texas into the lead. They were behind Oklahoma State and now lead by 8.5 points. And this we talked about as a key event for them because they have 3 qualifiers in this event where Oklahoma State only has 1, Texas Tech only has 1. So this could be a big swing. Texas could really open things up here. And as we wait, also know some action is going still on the high jump map, but Texas Tech, Aldrich Bailey Jr. now in his 3rd event, although he scratched out, or he false started out of the first one. Zach Bilderback ran the fastest time ever in the Big 12, fastest time in the nation this year, broke Jeremy Warner's record, so he's back for this 200. This is going to be a great one. So,
you know, two things I see here, Ryan. Number 1, Texas moves into the lead on the back of Ryan Krauser. Number 2, there's only 4 events left to be scored, so the meet is coming to a conclusion. You know, so the opportunities for Oklahoma State are reducing. They're slimming down quick.
We're going to try and switch over the high jump here because this is the last attempt for Bradley Atkins, who's trying to stay in it for the win. Let's see what he can do here. Not going to clear that bar. So Atkins and his teammate Culver are going to finish 2nd and 3rd, and we're going to get updated team scores in a minute because that is going to mean Kansas State wins the high jump. Texas Tech goes 2 and 3, which is 14 points for the Red Raiders.
So that's going to move Texas Tech ahead of Oklahoma into 3rd place, but not quite.
Only about 2 or 3 points behind Oklahoma State. But here we go, men's 200. And on the inside, Malik Wilson of Baylor, who false started in the 60. Andrew Hudson, the freshman from Texas Tech. Brian Robinson, who won the 600 earlier from Texas. John Teeters, who faded and finished 2nd in the 60, Oklahoma State. Aldrich Bailey Jr., 2nd in the 400 earlier today for Texas. Sam Watts of TCU. Zach Bilderback, the 400-meter record holder in the Big 12. And Terrell Smith of Kansas State. Here they go. Bilderback got out real hard in that 400 and distanced himself. Let's see what happens. Teeters went from the black jersey to the orange jersey. Let's see if that helps him here in the 200. He's coming off that turn in some speed, but Watts of TCU looks really good. Watch out for Watts. Bilderback trying to fight him on the outside. It's Watts and Bilderback. Aldrich Bailey's going to get 3rd, so big points there for Texas. And it's going to be 2081, and who was it?
I think it's Bilderback. It looks like he got him.
And we'll try to get a replay as we wait for the times to come up to see if we can make out anything.
So you can see that Bilderback strong around the turn and really closed hard on Watts to his inside. And my eyes said that it was
it was Bilderback. 2079 for the man from Texas. And that, my friends, ranks number 12 in the nation, and identical times to Mr. Sam Watts. And Sam Watts there in the picture, a little disappointed. He didn't get that win. He wanted it, but both at 2079. Aldrich Bailey Jr. 21:05. So the Longhorns there with 16 valuable team points, now pushing that lead forward. And the winner, the second time today, is on the track, Mr. Zach Bilderback down there with Meg.
I'm here with men's 200-meter winner Zach Bilderback. We just saw you in the 4. How motivated were you coming in this 2 after that 400 victory?
I knew I was going to run a good time, and I just wanted to give my best effort. And I didn't know I could run that fast, but anything's possible, I guess.
And you guys have been real close with Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, and you guys just went 1-3 in that 200. So what can we expect from this 4x4?
You expect our best effort. Whatever it takes to win this meet is what we're going to do.
Congratulations.
Zach Bilderback, now his second win of the weekend, and he's going to go for another one in that 4x4 with his teammate Aldrich Bailey Jr. Aldrich Bailey Jr. making up for that false start in a big way. That runner-up in the 400, third here. But man, 2079, Bilderback running fast when it counts. Teeter's back there in 5th today, so not quite his day in the sprints. And now updated team scores. Look at this. Texas, 120.5. That's 22.5 points ahead of Oklahoma State. And Texas Tech now well behind the Cowboys as we wait for the high jump scores to update. That'll move them within a little bit. We're going to get ready here. We saw that great shot put competition where the collegiate record was tied by Ryan Krauser with a victory for the Texas Longhorns. He's standing by with Kevin Selby.
All those throws need to get out on the green AstroTurf today, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I came in here. I love this facility. Been throwing here for a few years now, and so this is my last Big 12s. And I mean, just came out here, got a nice mark on the first one, just tried to build on it. So it was a really fun competition today.
When you say build on it, what do you mean?
So I mean, I'm always kind of a little slow starter. I've been throwing for a while now, so it takes a while for me to just get warmed up, get used to the ring, get used to throwing. So it just kind of chip away at it. So I try to improve every single throw, and usually my 6th throw is my best one. So I mean, got the crowd going into it on the finals, and there was just a great throw on my last one, and ended up tying Whiting's record. So that's kind of that was the whole goal for this season.
Hey, so you got the collegiate record now. You know, what's next for you?
Just keep moving. I mean, it's always small goals, small steps to make the big picture work. So I'm going to looking at 22 now, probably 22 meters, 72 feet. And then just looking towards outdoors. I'll be done with my eligibility and finishing up my master's here in May. So it'll be nice to get school done and focus completely on training. So hopefully making a run at Rio.
Rio 2016. You know, when you one more question about today's series. What did you do from each throw, you know, mentally, physically, talk with the coach? Was there certain things that you were doing that set you up for that big throw, the collegiate record at the end?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is just staying loose and kind of feeling it out. Every day is a little bit different. So today was really the first meet that I backed off my training. So everything seemed really fast, really quick, and really explosive. So it's almost trying to fight that urge to get in there and kill it, and just trusting your training, trusting your timing, and trying to hold everything back and control it. And then on those last 3, kind of just letting the rhythm go, letting the rhythm speed up, and I'm just moving through the throw, and it just all came together on that last one.
You back off the training, you go in the ring and kill it. Round 6,
yeah.
Collegiate record. Ryan, congratulations.
All right, thank you.
Now, Oklahoma State, I'm not sure if we have a view of this. There you see, they're all walking. They were just actually in a circle together, all talking. There's 6 Oklahoma State men in this race, and 2 of them have run under 8 minutes. The only 2 in the conference that have run under 8 minutes. So this, if they want to have a chance, this is where they got to do it. And they got to do something maybe that's never been done before. I'm not sure the 3K results historically in the Big 12, but they really would need to pretty much go 1 through 5 here to have a chance to take down Texas with that 4x4 to go. But the 2 guys we mentioned, Vergard Olstead of Oklahoma State, the Big 12 cross-country champ, he's run 7:54, and Chad Noel has run 7:56, finished runner-up in the 1,000 earlier today. But we'll get ready. Again, final individual event of the day on the track.
So here are your competitors in the men's 3K. Craig Nowak, Oklahoma State. Dylan Blankenbaker, Oklahoma. Daniel Everett, trying to see if Daniel is out there. Daniel is on the track, second in the 5K last night. Dylan Hodgson, Kansas. Evans Landis, Kansas. Toby Hardwick, Iowa State. Bernard Ketter, Texas Tech. Luis Martinez, Vergard Olstedt, and Sirak Gebrkadani from Oklahoma State, all three from Oklahoma State. Nathan Rodriguez, Iowa State. Brian Golke, Oklahoma State. Chad Noel, Oklahoma State, who was in the 1K earlier in DMR last night. Brian Lamas, Iowa State. Alex Rogers, who led that DMR last night, and has run earlier today, from Texas, and Dan Kurtz from Iowa State. So that's your field. Out front early are two from Iowa State. That's Dan Kurtz and Brian Lamas.
Dan Kurtz, another guy from out of the state of Maine here. Got to give a shout out, my home state there, as Kurtz leads early. And as we saw last night in the 5K, I got to imagine Iowa State has two guys, if I'm not mistaken, fresh, Kurtz being one of them. So they're going to make this pace honest to try and score some points here. And Oklahoma State, we talked about what they need to do, essentially be 1 through 5 here. They do have 3 of the top 4 ranked coming into this. So as we say, that would be a tough task. If anyone's going to do it, Oklahoma State really is almost in the position to. But with 2 fresh from Iowa State and Oklahoma State coming off many events over this weekend, we'll see how this all shakes out as they come through. Kurtz leads still with his teammate behind him. Kurtz in second there.
Another impressive start for Rogers, the freshman from Texas. He's in 4th. Daniel Everett, who led a good portion or most of the 5K, is now back in the pack, as is Chad Noel running second to last.
And so that's Brian Lamas of Iowa State, the senior, leading this out. And, I know Daniel Everett last night did a lot of that work. He had a teammate in there helping him early on, but the rest of the way, it was pretty much all him, clicking off those 68s, 69s, 67s, making that race really an honest race. And today, I'm assuming his reward might be to relax until the later stages of this race, let some of his other teammates do work, as now Everett sits in about 7th place behind the guy who beat him, Sirak Gebrkadani.
And running in the lead, Brian Lamas, the senior. So again, it seems that Iowa State has the scheduled plan to attack here. Now, 3 from Oklahoma State surround the freshman Rogers of Texas in that 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th position.
So
Gebrkadani running in 3rd now.
Lamas, who leads, again, season best of 8:12, comes in ranks 12th in this event. His lifetime best is 8:08 from a year ago, as they're at 3:20. Kurtz in 2nd, Gebrkadani 3rd, Rogers, the freshman from Texas, in 4th. Rogers could really help make that gap even bigger for the University of Texas.
I like the strategy here by Iowa State. Set up Everett. So let Everett sit in the pack for 1,600 meters and keep that pace honest. Gebrkadani now right on the shoulder of the 2 Cyclones. Texas Tech's Brandon Ketter, he's also in there. Okay, now you can see Everett swinging wide, starting to get himself into position as they're approaching the mile mark. So Iowa State with 3 in the top 4. They've got 5 in the race. So Gebrkadani, the familiar face from last night's 5K, sits in 3rd place.
And Everett, his season's best is 8:11, but at Columbia, he ran 8:01, so he's an 8-minute guy here. He's a guy that's run 4 flat in the mile, 3:42 in the 15. So we know there's some Oklahoma State talent, sub-4 milers in this race.
Brian Golke also ran is among the leaders. He's in about 6th, just behind Everett. He comes in with an 8:12 seed time, or 8:13.
So coming around once again, 5 minutes on the clock. Still Lamas doing a lot of the work here. Texas Tech in the mix there. Bernard Keeter, who we saw last night in the 5K, give a good run. Steeplechaser outdoors.
You're at a critical point in the race now, Ryan. Things started to slow down. Things started to bunch up. Now Olstat from Oklahoma State moves around,
Oh, wow.
goes in front of Lamas, but it's still that bunching up front. And now somebody needs to make a decision as Olstat looks around.
Yeah, and Olstat made that move, and Everett was right on it. So up front, it's Lamas, Olstat, Gebrekadani, and Everett. And behind them, still a huge group.
This race just turned tactical. Lamas still maintains that lead. Everett and Gebrekadani in awesome position.
5:51 when they cross the finish line there.
Ryan, what do you think of Chad Noel? He's there.
Chad Noel is there, just sitting back, relaxed. He's in about, 12th place or so. As long as he makes moves, he's in a dangerous position because, and as I say that, it's almost like he heard me. He was in a position where if a move was made, it was going to be tough for him to cover it, but he's putting himself now in position with less than 2 minutes left in this race. And now Noel trying to help the Cowboys.
On cue.
Man, we practiced that actually.
Yes.
Yeah, I said at 6 minutes, just start moving.
Us and Chad.
Now it looks like Olsted took the lead and might have just slowed down, because now look at this group bunching together, and Gebrekadani now going around, working up to the lead. And now, Oklahoma State, with the guys that are in this, Gebrekadani, we saw kick last night. Olsted is a sub-4 miler. We know Noel can kick. He's a sub-4 miler. Nowak's got some wheels. They might be setting this thing up just to get their guys ready and then start opening things.
Yeah, and Gebrekadani now goes to the front. Oklahoma State with 4 out of the top 6 right now. And Chad Noel tried to move, but now he got pushed back. It seems like his move wasn't quite enough to get up into the mix. There's just too many bodies to get around. He'd have to spend time in the outside of lane 2 to get there.
22.5 points is the lead. Oklahoma State, a team that might score 1, 2, 3 points in the 4x4. Texas looking to win, but Baylor and Tech could make that tough. And here we go. We have 2, 4, 5 Oklahoma State Cowboys now in the top 6. This could make things very, very interesting. The Big 12 title, the team battle, is still on the line. Let's see what we got. Everett up front with Gebrekadani pushing, and now Olsted, the guy we thought might be a factor last night, is showing he's a factor today, and Everett sitting right there. And Nowak, who's had some respiratory issues, is coming back and looking great here. We saw him last night, was hoping that he'd figure some things out, and I don't know what happened, but he got some good rest, and it looks like Nowak is going to take this. Everett's going to get his second runner-up finish, and then Oklahoma State. Oh my God, Oklahoma State just put 5 in the top 6. What is the team score going to be? Oh my word. And let's keep in mind, 8:19 won the last section, so our winner was 8:13, 8:14, 8:14, 8:15, 8:16 for the top 5, 8:16 for the top 6. So Oklahoma State is going to have 5 in the top 6. That is not what Texas was looking for. Oh my word. I need to see what these times are going to be. Oklahoma State, so they're going to score 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the top 6, and then Hedges is going to score out of the first section.
So they have 6 scorers.
Hedges is, now Hedges, he was, but they just updated. Hedges is now 11th, so they're going to keep 5 in the top 6. Oh my gosh. Whoa. That's going to be 10, 6. That's 28 points for Texas. We said they were going to need about 30.
For Oklahoma State, you mean?
Or so, yes, for Oklahoma State. So 28 points. So all of a sudden, Oklahoma State is up by 5.5 points going into the last event. I'm sorry, yes, 5.5 points. It's official. 126 to 120.5. The pressure is on the 4x4, which is not going to be an easy win by any means.
So the score right now, Ryan.
Oh my God!
Oklahoma. You can see Craig Nowak, and he is down. We'll get to the team scores. Let's go down to the track. Meg Bellino with your winner, Craig Nowak.
All right, I'm here with men's 3,000 meter winner Craig Nowak. Craig, huge race for you, huge points for the team. You're now 5 ahead of Texas going into that final event. So what's it feel? How do you feel, Big 12 champ?
It feels amazing. It's been such an uphill battle, honestly. Every time it seems the weather changes into the spring, it's just a struggle to stay healthy. But I don't know, I had a hard time last night, and then kind of today before the race, the whole team was just like, you have every single guy on the team telling you they need you, and it puts a whole different weight on your back.
Yeah, so much bright orange in that pack. You had a great last lap. What was going on in your mind?
Well, honestly, I kind of just zoned out the whole race and trying not to think about a thing. And then before I looked up, and the lap counter's at like 2 laps, and it's like, wow, I'm feeling pretty good. And I don't know, I haven't been in a position to win a race in a while, and it's just a good feeling to have that back.
Well, congratulations.
And thanks, Meg. We go to the replay now of this men's 3K, led early on by Iowa State. And here's Allstat and Oklahoma State taking over. Allstat looks strong coming down the backstretch, but it's Craig Nowak, the veteran Cowboy, powers through. David Everett with the last gasp trying to get him, and it's Nowak, hammers through, pumps the fist. He's had ups and downs over the last couple of years, gets that Big 12 title in the men's 3K, launches Oklahoma State. We talked about it. Personally, I didn't think that Oklahoma State was going to be in this position. They had to have so many things go well. So many things were also going well for Texas.
Oh my God.
They always say at the conference championship, it comes down to the 4x4, and this is it for Oklahoma State.
Oh gosh. In this first section, this is make or break here. I want to know what was said to this 4x4 before this race for Oklahoma State. In lane 5, you got Kansas State. In lane 6, Iowa State, the home team. In 7, Oklahoma State. And in 8, Oklahoma. Why is this critical? Because Oklahoma State is leading this competition in the team title race by 5.5 points. And in the next section, the Texas men, the #1 seed, will square off against Texas Tech and Baylor, two of the other top teams in the nation.
So this is a long shot for Oklahoma State.
And you say that, but we just don't know. Trenton,
that's true.
We have the leadoff here. Trenton Daniels, a freshman, has not run a 400. He's run 153 in the 8 this year. He's run 49 seconds in high school. So who knows where he's at right now. Malik Givens, who's scheduled to go second, a freshman who's very strong on the sprints, has run 36 seconds into 300 this year. Never noted for a 400 so far that I know of. Anthony Grogan, the other freshman, has run 36 in the 300. And the only thing we note for 400 for him in high school was 54 seconds. So that's kind of irrelevant. And then Tyler Jackson has run 47.25 on the anchor. So he's the one that's very solid in this event. But right now, up front, Trenton Daniels for Oklahoma State, knowing they have to pull something off here. Let's see what they can do. Coming in with a seed time of about 3:15.
3:15.20, and this is a great opening leg for Oklahoma State.
And it's scheduled now for Malik Givens. So Givens trying to hold on to this lead. They have to win this section here.
This is Brandon Singleton.
Okay, so we've updated. So that looked like that might have been Tyler Jackson in the lead. And yeah, they've updated. They've changed things around. So Brandon Singleton now for Oklahoma State.
Deion Sanders. Oh, why is he swinging wide? Get on that rail, baby.
And here we go. Oklahoma State in the lead. You know what? They changed this up so much. Bradley Johnson's in this on this next leg. And then Treytez Kennard, the 800-meter champ, they said, we're going to put you on that anchor. And Singleton's got to hang on here. Let's see what he can do.
Deion Sanders chases, and they hand off right together.
Singleton has run 48 this year.
Bradley Johnson, Oklahoma State. with Trevor Ryan, the freshman for Iowa State. In Kansas State, in third, that's Devi Freeman, also a freshman.
So
and look at that power by Bradley Johnson to fight to the front.
So Bradley Johnson rolling hard right now. They have to win this event. He's starting to tie up. And here we go. You see the Oklahoma State staff yelling him on. Oklahoma State still in the lead. Iowa State and Kansas State. That's your top three. Get to that exchange. Get to that exchange. Treytez Kennard, here you go.
And so they got the 800 man on the anchor for Iowa State. That's Derek Jones. Kansas State rolls out Keneal Harrison, and that's Harrison who blasts to the front.
And that's good for Kennard. He's got someone to chase. As Kennard ran 148 earlier today in that 800.
I think Kennard needs to sit right here, but he powers by on the backstretch, and right behind him is Iowa State. But that's Kennard with the edge, but we got a long way to go. And here's Kennard around the turn. Iowa State right there with him. Derek Jones, but it's Kennard. He won the 800 earlier. He needs to get this section for his team to have any sort of chance.
Here.
And here's Kennard, 311, 312.
Oh my gosh.
312,
wow.
06. Huge time for Kennard.
Oh man. So here's the situation too. Is any of the teams in the next race going to do what Texas did and not run their A squad because meets pretty much over? I don't know. 312 for Oklahoma State. I don't know. Matt,
you can see a great leg early here, and this is Bradley Johnson early on, but the handoff to Kennard, and Harrison goes in front, but Kennard down the backstretch, gets that lead, and maintains it. That move proved to be crucial on the backstretch as Kennard powers his team through 3:12.06. And just to update, or just so we know where we stand, on the men's side, Oklahoma State 126. They are 5.5 points ahead of Texas. So you can see the final race of the day lining up there, the fastest section of the men's 4x4, 3:12.06. That is the magic number, 3:12.08. That's the official time for Oklahoma State. Kansas in 4, Texas Tech in 5, Texas in 6, Baylor in 7, and TCU scheduled on the outside. Doesn't appear that they are in the race right now. So 4 schools out there.
Yeah, and we just mentioned what's going to happen. Well, TCU scratched this event. So that guarantees, at a minimum, a 5th place finish for Oklahoma State, which would put them at 130 points and 9.5 points up. So the only way Texas wins this competition is if they win the meet. This is what it comes down to right here.
So Texas needs to win this race, and they come out hard with Bilderback, the 45-27 quarter miler, and Texas is gonna try to throw this baton out front and not gonna let Will London or anybody else in this race get them. So all the pressure is on Texas if they want this team title.
And remember, Texas Tech has 3 guys that have run under 47 seconds this season.
So Will London, the freshman, takes it out on Bilderback, and Bilderback's had a long weekend. For Kansas, that's Ivan Henry sitting in 3rd place, but Will London, Baylor does not like to lose 4x4s, and Bilderback has a tough opening leg for Texas as they hand off to Chris Irvin.
And you know what? London was 4th earlier in that final at 46-26, a full second behind Bilderback, so that was a huge leg for him.
Ryan, really quick, we got to stay focused here, but Aldridge Bailey is the anchor for Texas.
Oh, wow.
He's going to have some work to do.
It's all about the win. If Texas does not win, they lose the meet. That's all that matters. No time, nothing.
Richard Gary is the senior for Baylor at this point, and Clyde Hart is somewhere trackside. The dean of the 400 meters is watching his Baylor Bears, along with Coach Michael Ford and Todd Harbor. but Texas needs to get it together here. Chris Irvin.
Kyle Collins of Texas Tech is in third. He finished third in the Open 400 today at 46.26, just in front of London, who we saw. And here we go.
So Caleb Dixon for Baylor is on the stick now out front. Byron Robinson, the junior from Texas, chases.
And again, we mentioned Robinson was the Big 12 leader heading into this weekend. Now,
and he's closing that gap, Ryan.
Wow.
Here comes Robinson.
And for Baylor there with Dixon, we saw him win that first section of the 600 earlier today. So had a strong race, and let's see, Robinson needs to put Mr. Aldrich Bailey really close because George Kadick has run 46.44 this season.
And so Dixon starts to tie up.
Oh, man.
And here you go with George Kadick.
And wow, this is going to be some ground to make up. Aldrich Bailey, his third event of the day, really fourth event, although there was a false start in the 60. He ran 3 prelims yesterday. He's run 2 races today, so this is his 6th race.
And Ryan, that's a lot of ground. Baylor looks good right now with Kadick.
You're going to see just what kind of athlete Aldrich Bailey Jr. is right now. This is for not only the win in the race, but for the win in the team title. We said at the beginning of the show, Aldrich Bailey is going to be a key for Texas, and this is where we're seeing it. Aldrich Bailey starting to tie up, and watch out, it's going to be Baylor taking it. Oklahoma State is going to win by half a point. Oh my God.
And
I would
Baylor
have never guessed in 100 years we would have saw the 3K 4x4 finish the way it did. We're
going to look at that all-time list because that time of 3:14, 3:04.16 is one of the top 10 times ever by an NC2A team in the 4x4. But that relay by Baylor, and we can see there.
There it is, official. 1.5 points. I said a half a point. I was a point off, but 1.5 points. There you go, is the official team scores that Oklahoma State wins by as we see the 4x4 final times here. 3:04.16 for Baylor. Unbelievable mark to close out this meet as we look to see where that fits all time. And here you go for the team scores. 1.5 points. The Cowboys pull it out. Oh, wow. Unbelievable. That was unbelievable. Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, what a relay by Baylor. And, you know, you never thought that it, and I was a little bit off maybe with the importance, how strong that relay is. But we are one of the top 10 schools all time in the 4x4.
I mean, Baylor sits number 4 all time right now at 3:03.96, so that is not far off of that mark.
So they almost broke a Baylor school record right there in the 4x4.
Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, you see the Oklahoma State crowd right there. I mean, the story of the meet, no credit taken away to Baylor, who just ran unbelievable, and we're going to send it down in a second here, but Oklahoma State, oh, wow, showing some toughness. Baylor 4x4, unbelievable race for them. They're standing trackside with Meg. Let's hear what they have to say.
All right, I'm here with the Baylor men after winning the 4x4. Huge time for you guys to come in, beat the number one team in the nation, Texas. How does it feel?
Oh, it feels great. We all came out here, we executed like we were supposed to, and we was all who was going to want it more, and of course we did.
And you etched your names into the record books, one of the top 10 all-time times in that 4x4. What's that like?
It's a great honor, and we're at Baylor too, so 4x4 is kind of our thing. So it's great to get our name in that book, and we have a lot more to grow, and we get a lot better.
Congratulations, best of luck at NCAA's, guys.
We look at this final race, and Ryan, Baylor out front and strong first leg, and Baylor never looked back. So great handoffs, powerful. They were definitely challenged. You can see Robertson coming there, but Baylor challenged, and they maintained. Aldrich Bailey ran a great closing leg, but just not quite enough. Look at Oklahoma State Cowboys cheering on Baylor. They needed Baylor to win this race, and boom, 3:04.16 to almost break a Baylor school record.
Wow, look at that. There's Oklahoma State afterwards, knowing immediately what had to happen there. And, you know, that opening leg by, I'd have to say leg of the day, Will London of Baylor. That's what opened it up there. Will London, the freshman, who finished 4th in the Open 400 earlier today, takes down the Big 12 record holder in that opening leg to put Baylor ahead, and Baylor never looked back.
One of the great 400 runners in NC2A history with the 45-2, and he didn't execute. I mean, he laid it out there.
And it's not even that he didn't execute. I mean, he 2079 today, 45-27, so, and definitely not taking away anything from Bilderback. London was just, I think, probably a little fresher, and all he needed was a half a second. And here you go, look at this, Oklahoma State. We saw Dave Smith earlier today, and he had his doubts. He thought he was going to score around 95 points. Well, guess what? 130 points later, the Cowboys walk away with the team title. Unbelievable.
And we're going to stay live for the team title, Ryan, and we'll definitely review, what has happened here today, talk about some of the highlights, and when it comes down to a 1.5 point victory for Oklahoma State, Texas scores 128 points, but it's just not quite enough. Now you're looking at the award ceremony for the men's 3K, where big points were scored by the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Chad Noel, Chad Noel doesn't run that race, then his team doesn't win. So huge performance for Chad Noel. Geber-Gadani with the win in the 5K last night, and then up for 5th in the 3K today. You can see Allstat there in 3rd. David Everett with 2 phenomenal second-place performances. And then you see Craig Nowak, the veteran there. He's had his struggles at Oklahoma State with illness, can't seem to stay healthy, and boom, he nails it down.
And you mentioned Oklahoma State, and as we look at those awards, that was the event that did it. We're standing here with the coach that also helped make it happen, Dave Smith, the head coach at Oklahoma State. And Dave, we talked before the end of the day, or before, at the start of the day, we talked about that 3K, how it was crucial, and you said we might need 30 points, which seems like really a task that is unaccomplishable almost.
Yeah.
You guys pulled it off today. What's going on?
Man, though, the 3K was awesome, but it was all over the place. It was John Teeters coming to us the night before Declaration of Due saying, put me in the 2. You guys aren't well in the 2 all year. I didn't want to run. I mean, the guy's got a contract to sign soon. I don't want to hurt him or do too much. He says, Coach, put me in the 2. I can score. Put me in the 2. So we did. He goes out there and runs his butt off. The guys in the Chad Noel doubling back off the 1,000. He said, Coach, I'm exhausted. I said, well, we need a miracle. And if you can't produce a miracle, then don't get in that 3K. He came to me 15 minutes later and said, I'm running. And Josh Thompson came and said, I want to run the 3K. Well, you can't be in the fast heat. Josh doesn't work that way here. He goes, put me in the slow heat. I'll score. Now you've done a lot of running already. But all of them wanted to be a part of it.
Right.
Those guys in the 4x4 ran 4 or 5 seconds faster than they've run all year. And we needed every point we had. Obviously we won by half a point or whatever it was. So.
I mean, so many things go your way. Like TCU doesn't run the 4x4, which is obviously, I'm sure, a huge blessing when you see that. But last night we talked about, that DMR finish where Chad Noel passes Alex Rogers, that could be a difference maker. 1.5 points today was the victory. That was it.
Flip. Or how about the point at the end of the 3K when Chad and I think it was Golke, whoever it was, 2 guys held off a hard charging Kansas dude right at the line. Maybe it was Ciroc. So Chad, they held off that. If that guy passes those 2 dudes, we lose 2 points.
Dave, you look at overall with your team and the way that you address them. You tell your team we're going to beat Texas in track.
Yep.
It's one thing for Oklahoma State to beat Texas in cross country.
Yep.
But how do you convince your team that they are capable or should even consider beating a juggernaut like Texas in track?
We talk all the time about people who do excellent things, people who are the greatest in their field, any field, aren't the ones who are doing it for a contract or a scholarship or the money or because it's their job. They're doing it because they dream, they have passion, and they commit to following those dreams. And they run for it with a passion. And I said, hey, teams that are not supposed to win all the time. We talk about the NC State 1983 or 4 basketball team all the time. They weren't supposed to win. They weren't supposed to be in the final game. But they played with passion, And I told them, if we will do that and come together, there's a synergy. When something starts good happening in a track meet, it's contagious. If something bad happens, that's contagious too. Let's start it off good and get it rolling and come together and run with passion and do this because we want to win, because we want to be champions. And, they did it.
You're just moments off of this victory. Where does this? How do you place
and
this?
We should say
like,
a runner-up
mind?
finish too on the other side.
Yeah, where does this meet kind of stack up? You don't have to quantify it against NCAA finishes and so on, but how does this sit with you?
Well, we get knocked all the time for not being a track team. And that's for some reason people still think we're not a track team. And we got a darn good track team. We scored 13 points in the long jump. We scored in the 60. We scored in the 200. We scored in the 600. Scored in the middle distances, long distances. We're a good team. And, we won here 2 years ago. We won the conference title 2 years ago up here by, I think, 3 points over Texas. Same thing. Came down to a miraculous 3K. And I think this kind of goes, hopefully, we start getting some credibility and some credit in the track world. People recognize that, we're for real. And, we haven't won a national title in track, but we want to win a national title in track too. We want to win outdoors. For us, outdoors is a little tougher. We got some more time to grow there, but we've been, I think, second or third in outdoors in the Big 12, so we're coming along.
You told us at the start of the day 95 points is where you thought you'd be.
Yeah.
You scored 130. Walking away from this, what are the difference makers you're going to talk to your team about?
Well, again, it's just guys coming together, and when everybody's tired and everybody's down, everybody thinks, I've done all I can do, and these guys are coming to me asking me, put me in the 3K. Guys that no way was I letting Josh Thompson run the 3K, and he's over there smiling, saying, I can do it. You probably can, but you're not going to. And like I said, Teeter's wanting to run the 200, and all these guys want to be on the 4x4. It's just that will to win and be a part of it that I'm going to remember, and it's that this over here, these guys all coming together and being a group. I love that for them.
It was a special day, man. We talked to Craig Nowak last night. We talked to you about Craig Nowak,
yeah.
about the struggles that he's had, and
what a
to see what he did in 3K was unbelievable.
That poor kid, he's one of the best people I've ever met in my life. I mean, he is truly one of the nicest guys I've ever met. He will do anything for anybody. The most respectful, kind-hearted, just a good-natured person, and he has struggled on the track forever. Ever since he's been at OSU, we haven't had any success on the track, and for him to do that today, I think, was huge for him. And as big as the championship was, for him to win a title of his own and to know he made a major contribution, I think, thank God he finally gets rewarded for all the goodness in him, Right.
That's one of those moments that could change the rest of his time at Oklahoma State. That could be it.
Yeah.
Definitely a career-defining moment.
For sure.
And for a guy who's a highly touted distance runner.
Yeah, he is. He's done great in cross-country. He does big things for us. But that's his first conference title, He's been here. This is the end of his fourth year, or the middle of his fourth year. It's his first conference title. So big deal for him.
Well, we're going to let you go ride the high with the team.
Right.
But, victory today on the men's side, runner-up on the women's side.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Awesome showing for
Yeah,
the Cowboys
women,
today.
that's their highest. Our highest finish ever was last year. We got fourth. And then this year we get second. So the women are climbing too, and we want to be in the same situation next year with the women. That's our goal. So it's coming.
All right, congratulations.
All right, thanks,
yeah,
Thanks.
Enjoy your team.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right, so that's Dave Smith, head coach at Oklahoma State, and like you said, still men's score there. You see that 1.5 victory, as you mentioned 2 years ago, 3-point victory over Texas. And he's right. Oklahoma State doesn't always get the credit as a track team because they've had that distance stigma for so long. As we're looking at some 4x4 awards, and over on the right, but I think like you said, they're moving in a direction to show that they are a power on the track. So,
yeah, I'm sure you and I, Ryan, wouldn't consider Oklahoma State to be that's not what first comes to your mind when you think well-rounded track team. And there's Dave Smith said it. They're trying to change that. There you see the awards presentation for the women's 4x4 and women's 4x4. And there you go, Big 12 handing out some awards. And, and we're going to continue with these award ceremonies. And, what an incredible event. And it's great to see, college teams that are high-powered like Oklahoma State and really come together, and athletes making sacrifices for the sake of the team and really getting after a title that even the coach, Dave Smith, hey, we'd love to score 95 points. Well, he scored a whole chunk more than that in 130, so almost 50% more. You see that Texas Longhorn team, so with a resounding victory. And Ryan, back up here in the booth with us.
Yes, we have a guest, a special guest here, head coach Mario Zatania from Texas, and some highs, and I don't want to say some lows, but man, obviously a dominating win on the women's side, a nail biter on the men's side. I don't know what you want to talk about first, but
Well,
unbelievable day.
Let's start with the women. You know, to win another conference title, this is 3 in a row for the women in dominating fashion. And, you know, the staff did a phenomenal job, the coaches, the medical, you know, just in regards to preparing them for this meet and stuff. And it was really neat to see because you knew with Courtney Okolo, this being her senior year, you know, Caitlin Petrolos, this is her last indoor. You know, they were going to do some special things. And I think that along with Morlakea Kinnison, you know, letting the veterans do what they do and then fill in the rest. And so there were some great all-around performances. On the guys' side, you know, we just didn't capitalize across the board, and that's what makes a conference meet fun. It was great that we put ourselves in position. You know, very much a nail biter, you know, coming down to the 4x4 when we knew we had to win it. But at the same time, you know, we had run a lot of those athletes in multiple races, you know, so it was going to be survival of the fittest. But Oklahoma State, they stepped up and they've got a well-balanced team, and that's great for our conference. You know, but to see Courtney, to see Zach Bilderback, to see Ryan Krauser, you know, that we're going to use those types of performances to springboard into the NCAA indoor.
Yeah, I mean, come away with the most decorated pole vaulter for Caitlin in Big 12 history, tie-in and collegiate record in the shop with so many high points. You know, the question I want to ask is at the end, right? You at some point you know the women have won, you know, so there's a good relief there, and then you switch gears to the men. What are you saying to the team to keep the excitement, the morale high, and keep these guys ready for those?
Our goal with both relays going into the 4x4s was to be up by 11 points, and then after the 3K on the men's side, you know, with you know, Oklahoma State and their, you know, and the distance being their forte, you know, we had to go talk with the group that had that 3:04 time from Tyson and be like, hey guys, we had the championship's on the line. But again, you know, it's a learning experience. You know, there. Obviously me as the head coach, to the rest of the staff, and most importantly that team, you know, the women, as excited as they are, they feel bad for the guys, and that's a great thing. I mean, that's what makes a complete program, and I think that these athletes will learn from it. The great thing about our sport of track and field is that, you know, for a lot of them, they get to wipe the slate clean and now get ready for the outdoor season and get ready for May and get ready for June for the NCAAs.
Hey, so Coach, what positive do you take away, or will you deliver to the men based on today?
Well, the one thing that we talk about, we started the year with 104 athletes between the men and the women, you know, and we bring 52, 26 men, 26 women. And they have to understand when we talk about that every point counts, just making the final and scoring a point is going to matter. Well,
case in point here.
Case in point right here.
Dash, right?
That's
you
right.
make the final, but you still have to score.
That's right.
Just break out this results page.
Right? No, it's, you know, it's as a fan, you know, of track and field. I mean, if you look just in our short history of a combined program, you know, we've learned from a lot of things. You know, the sweeping the conference last year, but you look at our first year of combined program, losing by half a point at the NCAAs. You know, so you definitely reflect back as a staff on how do we move forward. But the great thing is that the University of Texas is, you know, we're really excited where we're, you know, at as a program, as a team. I know that our administration, our fans, and our alumni should be very, very proud of this group of young men and young women.
Yeah.
I want to ask one more question. There's no need to explain the fire that's going to be in that men's team. How do you help the women's team from becoming complacent? Hey, we're champions. This is easy.
Our goal, you know, with both programs is to win the national title, but it starts by winning the conference. And, you know, obviously the dynamics change as you get ready to go into the indoor national meet, and obviously the same thing for the outdoor. But we did have some great performances across the board that we'll use to springboard. And that will be, you know, some of the things that I talk about with the team whenever we have our meeting after the awards presentation.
Yeah, and that's about to get going. So it's time for you to go enjoy this with your team. A three-peat on the women's side, a nail-biter on the men's side,
yeah,
with so many special performances regardless. So we appreciate you taking the time.
And I appreciate that, and we were super excited that Flow Track was covering the Big 12 championship, and look forward to future years,
yes,
future meets.
We'll be here.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay.
Congratulations on a great weekend.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank
Great
y'all.
job. Thanks, Mario. All right, so head coach Mario Cetenia again, and he's about to go join his team as they award first, the women's overall performer of the meet, which sounds like it might be Akila Jones. It sounds like they're announcing her right now. Not sure. We'll get a shot in a
Ryan,
second as she comes up.
They go with the high point individual for men and women. Most points scored as an individual.
And she's off to the right a little bit there. There she. So Akila Jones, again, record-setting performance in the high jump, in the long jump, a win. There she goes, a win in the hurdles, and then helped her team there finish up in that 4x4. A great weekend for her. But, you know, I got to say one thing. We just talked to Dave Smith and we just talked to Mara Titania, and I think just by speaking to those two, you can tell very special and very dedicated coaches, which really shows why these teams are so successful, you know?
Yeah.
Great leaders. You know, I think that's where it comes from. And here you go, Zach Bilderback.
Man, what a great weekend. For the 45-27 definitely stands out.
Yeah.
He asserted himself, ran great in the 200. The high point winner, Zach Bilderback. So
20.79 in that 200. And we mentioned those guys coming off those tired legs. He was able to follow it up with that double victory. And that might have been what, you know, hampered him a little bit in that 4x4 to begin. We're not going to take anything away from the performance he had. Performer of the meet here, and unbelievable.
So you see the Texas team, and they have good reason to celebrate. They had a good meet, and with the high point by Bilderback, great performance there, and then Akila Jones, obviously, those are your two quote-unquote MVPs based on the number of points that they scored in this meet.
And how hard is it to pick an MVP when you look at Courtney Okolo's performances today? Caitlin Petrolos in the pole vault, winning her 7th Big 12 title. Ryan Krauser tying the collegiate record. I mean, there was so many special things that happened at this meet.
Will London with that opening leg.
Man.
The next thing we're going to see is the team presentations by the Big 12 for the men's and women's overall championships.
And here you go, before they announce those teams, you'll see Texas there with a 38-point victory over Oklahoma State. Kansas State there in third. You see Texas in the background getting that celebration going. And there they are. We'll try and
Texas
clear our... And here they are, excited. You know, as Mario said, they were feeling it for the guys, but you know what? This is now their time to celebrate what they've accomplished.
Dave Flores from the Big 12, Assistant Commissioner of the Big 12, presenting the championship trophies to the Lady Longhorns.
Excitement there, excitement. There's Coach Mario, who we just spoke with, and Coach Tanya Buford-Bailey over off to the right there in the light orange. A huge key to that sprint.
Yeah, I mean,
sprint squad there and that 400-meter squad.
Tanya Buford-Bailey, been there, done that as a 53-second 400 hurdler in her day, and you can see the Big 12 championship. Big 12 championship. Big 12 championship won by the Lady Longhorns. There they are. And as Ryan mentioned earlier, that's a three-peat. You also count their outdoor title from last spring, and they are dominating.
They're letting the Fieldhouse hear it here in Iowa State.
So 3 indoor titles and 2 outdoor titles in a row. This spring, they'll be going for title number 6.
Man, and you know, that's got to be a special victory coming up for Dave Smith. I know he said it was a similar one to 2014, but man, I wish we could get a shot of the guys right now behind us. They were all together going crazy. There they are.
Oklahoma State.
Just celebrating. Unbelievable. And you know, we talked about it with some of the coaches, and we've talked about it on the show, but just some of those key moments. You know, I keep going back to that DMR. Chad Noel passing Alex Rogers.
That's the meat right there,
That's
Ryan.
the meat right there. You know what else is the meat? The first fall start in the 60 guarantees Aldrich Bailey at least 2 points.
Yeah.
He false starts, he's out.
All he had to
right?
do was jog.
All he had to do was jog. And again, this is all hindsight.
But it's
right?
easy for us to say that
Right.
because he's in a competitive situation.
But it's just unbelievable. Here we go, Oklahoma State Cowboys posing with the trophy. Their second title on the men's side in 3 years. Unbelievable, unbelievable. I don't think we can pick a favorite moment my favorite moment is just the way it all unfolded overall. I mean, that as an announcer and as a fan, you want to see a battle, and that's exactly what we saw here at the 2016 Big 12 Indoor Championships on that men's side. Dominating performance on the women's side. Again, 38-point victory. I don't know, how do we top that moving forward?
And, and to wrap this up, I'm not sure how to wrap it up, Ryan, and I got to be with you. The way that this unfolded, the drama that occurred, the Craig Nowak crossing the line, pumping the fist after we saw him at dinner last night, where he's running has not been going that great, and he's, a key part of this championship. But I just like the class of the coaches.
Yeah.
That speaks to the way that these teams are. They're classy coaches. They're excited. They're competitive, and I think that directly reflects and is contagious amongst their teams.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say is we go to many meets, and you'll never match the intensity and the drama that you'll see at a conference championship, and that's what makes a day like today special. So it's been a great 2016 Big 12 Indoor Track and Field Championships. Again, Ryan Fenton with Flow Track, Kevin Selby here alongside. Thanks for joining us all weekend. We got more track and field to come over the coming weeks. Obviously, NCAA championships in 2 weeks. You'll see a lot of the athletes that you saw this weekend battling for NCAA titles, individual and on the team side. So make sure to tune in. And once again, thanks for joining us this weekend.